Good afternoon and welcome to the first Forums International webinar, the first of many, may I say. To introduce myself, I'm Laurie Beagle. I'm the Managing Director at Forums International, and I'd like to take you initially through the agenda. First off, I'm going to give you an introduction to the forums, for those of you who don't know us. Then I'm going to hand over to Angelique Assaf from Cedar. Cedar are one of our corporate partners, and she's going to take you through the challenges in the Middle East's largest economies, Saudi Arabia and UAE. After that, I'll come back for any last-minute Q&A, a summary, and a close. So I hope you enjoy. To give you some background on Forums International, we started in 2015. However, we've been running forums since 1991. Our oldest forum is 27 years old this year. So, our forums provide opportunity for credit and finance professionals to meet and discuss key trading challenges in their specific industries, of which, of course, there are many today. Further, to share experiences and problems, create new and best practices, and most importantly, talk about innovation and how to succeed in the future. It's not all about problems. We are very much like to look on the positive side and look at the futures. They're not learning experiences where the agenda, they are learning experiences where the agenda items are dictated by the members. And they're not lecture-based, but interactive workshops and discussions. A typical session is 50-50 based. 50% is led by the subject matter expert, and the other 50% is where the attendees can share their experiences. You put those two things together and it's very, very powerful. The forums are subscription based, but attending your first meeting is free, and we'd like you to come along, meet the members, gauge for yourself the benefits before making any commitment to join. I can say a lot, but it'd be good to actually show you what some of our members are saying. I'll let you read this yourselves, but these are key players. Christine Knowles is Director of Credit at Wavecrest, who are a telecoms company and have been a member for over 15 years. Anne Kurtenbach, Credit Manager at Petland Brands Limited. Norman Chung from Sopra Steria is a member of our CPF forum for also around 15 years. And a lot of you will know John Swan, Head of Credit at Hachette, and I think he gets the gold star for belonging to more forums than anybody else. We have 9 forums in our portfolio currently. Some are industry specific, like business and office supplies, IT, telecoms, and pharmaceuticals and medical devices. Some are cross-industry, like the Credit Professionals Forum and the Senior Credit Management Forum. And some are more technical, like the SAP User Group. This is for AR users, or should I say frustrated AR users of SAP. So enough about Forums International. I'd like to now hand over to Angelique, and who's going to take you through the challenges in the Middle East.
Thank you, Laurie. Welcome, everyone. My name is Angelique, and some call me Angela. I'm the data strategist at Cedar, and within the past 7 years at the company, I worked closely with the many departments, including the credit department, due diligence department, and the software development department. My background, briefly, is mainly in math, data, and algorithms. Today, as Laurie said, I will be addressing the challenges we face in 2 of the Middle East's largest economies, Saudi Arabia and UAE. I will start first with a small introduction about Cedar, and then I will talk briefly about Saudi Arabia and UAE's future strategies and visions to a more sustainable economic growth, and then discuss with you about the challenges which credit and finance professionals like most of you, if not all, as well as information providers like us face in the Middle East, more specifically in these 2 countries. I would also like to know how you define the value and quality of the data in a credit report at the end of our session, and also identify the factors behind your evaluation. Please feel free to use the chat box on the bottom of the screen to ask any question or interact during our session. I will either answer you directly or wait until the end of my presentation. Established in 1997, Cedar Rose started in UK as Arab Business Information and later registered as Cedar Rose International Services with the motto Strive for Excellence. Today, Cedar Rose operates mainly from offices in Cyprus and Lebanon with staff who are highly qualified and multilingual, speaking English, Arabic, French, and Greek languages. The Middle East and North Africa has been the main focus of Cedar Rose for the past 20 years. For all these years, we have researched companies and individuals, gathered data and provided reports at all levels to those companies and organizations who want to know whether the rewards of doing business with companies or people in MENA region are worth the risks involved. Cedar Rose is also known with the following: the largest MENA database in the world. We have over 10.9 million companies and over 20 million individuals in only one platform. We are pioneers in business intelligence, data acquisitions, and delivery. We are also technological innovators, singular to our sector. We are award winners of one of our latest technology, which is a scoring model for credit reports. I'm gonna talk about the economies of the MENA. So the economies of the MENA region face a number of major challenges, and this is why today we are talking about the main two economies. Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates have adopted visions, which I think most of you have heard about, Vision 2030 and Vision 2021 accordingly, attempting to reorient their economies and introduce far-reaching reforms. They aim to develop a new sustainable economic model that, amongst other things, accommodates rapid demographic growth and to diversify away from oil or oil-based rent. The two countries announced adoption of a joint strategic strategy for integration between the two countries in the areas of economy, development, and military through 44 projects. So both countries recognize the importance of moving towards more sustainable economic growth. I'm gonna talk about Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is known with its very strict laws, ideas, and practices, which you may never have seen in other countries. However, now that the Crown Prince Mohammed Al Saud has planned, which is known with the Vision 2030, to modernize and reform some aspects of life in the country, the kingdom is experiencing a fast change. This vision was set to diversify the economy and introduce new revenue streams from tourism, trade, and investment. Vision 2030 is an essential renovation of the country, and we are already seeing major changes taking place. These groundbreaking initiatives will help the kingdom invest in its own human resources, operate an efficient and transparent governance, welcome partnerships from overseas companies, and allowing foreign tourists and visitors greater freedoms. Now about UAE Vision 2021, it was launched in 2010, and it's a long-term plan that aims to make the UAE one of the best countries in the world by the year 2021. Vision 2021 focuses on fostering innovation in 7 key factors: renewable energy, transport, education, health, water, technology, and space. Both visions will be a very strong transformation and have the potential to create an even more attractive marketplace for foreign investors and exporters to both countries. I'm gonna just give you a general overview about the numbers. The two countries' economies are worth $1 trillion USD, which is the largest in the Middle East, and their exports make them one of the top 10 exports in the world with a value of more than 700 billion USD. the volume of non-oil trade between the two countries is worth 24 billion USD, where the imports totaled around 550 billion USD. So you can see that the numbers are huge. The two countries have a combined GDP of 1.06 trillion USD, which forms 73% of the 6 nations GCC's combined GDP together. Now I'm going to talk about the challenges in each country, starting with UAE. What makes UAE different than other countries is that it consists of several jurisdictions. It is a federation of 7 emirates. You definitely know Dubai and Abu Dhabi, which is the capital of the country. And there are more than 30 free trade zones in the country. And each of these jurisdictions has its own laws and regulations. Unsurprisingly, a third of the Emirates' GDP stems from free zones, where the majority of them, which is more than 20 free zones, are based in Dubai. Even small Emirates in the UAE are able to register a good number of free zones companies despite competition in the market. So the larger number of free zones and competition among them is actually driving the market forward, deepening and widening the market size. Now, why is it hard to identify an entity in UAE, and more specifically, a free zone entity? Because you need to do your homework by checking every authority in every jurisdiction in the country to find whether the entity you are searching for or investigating about is legally active and registered there. Also worth noting that companies that register with free zones seek the strong secrecy that these zones offer them to avoid taxation through the legal protection of ownership rights and strict confidentiality of their information. This is why it makes us harder to find these companies and to find the information about these companies. There is a great limitation in terms of what is publicly available and can be lawfully obtained from or through free zone authorities, where full corporate information on entities and their operations information by law are not publicly obtainable. While free zones are similar to offshore company registries, in that way where setting up companies is not subject to commercial companies laws, since the free zones are considered to be outside the jurisdiction of the country, and are under the rules and regulations of the concerned free zone. This is why I started my my previous slide by saying that UAE has different jurisdictions and every jurisdiction has its own laws and regulations. So sometimes, and bound by the jurisdiction's legal filing requirements, release and availability of information, some free zone authorities may only confirm the existence or non-existence of the entity on their records and might provide certain additional limited information regarding its licensed activities and some of its registration details. However, some authorities may even decline to provide information concerning its registered entity. Now, the second question is it subject to auto-credit scoring? Well, even though companies in UAE and more specifically free zone entities are not required to file financial statements, as it is the case in most of the countries in the Middle East, Cedar has developed an algorithm that calculates the risk score of a business called CR score, based on data analytics techniques, statistics, and data warehousing. And it is also applied on entities lacking financial information. Well, the idea behind this automation or automated scoring model is to benefit from the large set of data that Cedar has in its database. Please, if you have any question, do not hesitate to ask using the chat box. So what I was talking about previously about the auto-credit scoring is the answer for this question. Does credit automation apply on businesses incorporated in the Middle East? Well, this automated CR score was developed for clients' needs to mitigate risks, and provide informed, detailed, and comprehensive reports. The advanced AI technology adopted by Cedar can help you make swift assessments for future investments. It is calculated based on qualitative and quantitative data. So we currently provide this score as an addition to our credit reporting services. Clients will not see the algorithm or the formula behind the CR score, but will see the final score, which gives indication about the company's credit rating. What does it include? I have someone who asked me about what does this CR score include, or what does the algorithm take into consideration? Well, the algorithm is based on several factors, including the following: the company's activity, the company's country of registration, whether it is in Saudi Arabia or UAE or Egypt, the company's capital, the company's age when it was registered, the company's legal form, the shareholders, managers, payments, number of employees, ratio analysis, financial records, subsidiaries, and many other factors. And also, I'm going to talk about the benefits of this CR score. Other than being an instant, consistent, accurate, and auto-calculated score, it also has other benefits. It improves operational efficiency. The process of evaluating the credit risk when applying credit scoring is automated, eliminating the human intervention for assessment. It also reduces operating costs because it saves time for the credit analysts and clients. It has a standard and accurate means of analysis using computed rules and calculations. Provides a flexible algorithm that can be challenged and improved by a data scientist. It also provides broadly consistent results, which represent a reliable best estimate. It definitely reduces the guesswork involved in making everyday decisions. It also provides an automatic determination of the level of risk of a business, and helps the client decide what the next step will be within a process. For example, a recommended level of due diligence. It is also objective, relatively simple, and easy to interpret. Hopefully I answered the question. Now we're gonna move to Saudi Arabia. Well, what are the main challenges in this country? Company information is in Arabic language. The status of the company is not renewed in most of the times, and no financial filing requirements. I'm gonna start with the first point. Arabic language, is it a really big challenge for you? So let's say the information was available and is accessed by the public, and anyone can obtain it and add it to his database. However, most of the info available or provided by authorities, especially in Saudi Arabia, is in Arabic language, which is the main language used in this region. Well, Cedar has built a proprietary translation program and has also a data quality team to translate and transliterate mainly people and company names. This to allow our clients to search for any company using Romanized characters in through our website. How do you know if a company is still operational or not? Is the status enough for you to decide whether this company, or to know whether this company is still operational? Well, in Europe, for example, a company has only two statuses. It can be either active or not active. And we are all familiar with these two statuses. However, in the MENA region, we have many statuses. A company status at the local authorities can be, for example, active, which is very common. It can be expired, which in this case, I can give you two scenarios. It can continue its operations in the country, but might have to pay some fines for not renewing its membership. So in this case, it is expired, but it is operationally active. However, I'm going to give you another scenario where its commercial registration is expired, but the company is not active. It might be the case where a company has stopped operations and forgot to end or delete its membership. It happens a lot in Saudi Arabia. So the status expired doesn't really give you a clear vision or a clear view whether the company is operational or not. I'm going to give you also other statuses. It can be bankrupt, dormant, under sequester, under deletion, or even deleted. So you cannot easily know whether a company is really active or not unless you do the investigation. Now, how do we acquire the latest prepared financial statements or accounts of a client or a potential one? I guess also this is one of the major challenges that you are facing when dealing with the companies incorporated in the Middle East. Well, businesses in the MENA region are not required to file financial statements, as you may know, unless they are listed in the stock exchange. And even if in some countries they are required to file them, for example, in Morocco, they are required to file financial statements. However, they are not available to the public. Therefore, obtaining financial data on these companies is a difficulty in this region. While Cedar Rose uses many ways to obtain these data, starting with the data warehouse. For example, what I mean with data warehouse, it's the data that Cedar Rose has already. Updating it with fresh investigation, with trade reference, and many other methods. Well, one entity, well, this is very important because I was previously a credit analyst, so I faced a lot of this challenge in the Saudi Arabia. One entity in Saudi Arabia, for example, can have more than one name, can have more than one address, can have more than one commercial registration number, and even more than one activity. I'm going to give you a real example here. A company called Al-Marai Company in Saudi Arabia. It has the following trade names. I'm going to state some of them, but not all. One of the trade names is Al-Marai Company Plant. It has also another trade name, Al-Marai Distribution Center. Also another one, Fodder Conditioners Factory. And also Industrial, Chemical, and Agricultural Factory. Another one also Muhassanat Al-Alaf Factory. Also Al-Marai Factory for Seeds and Al-Marai Fertilizers Factory. So I stated only 7 trade names and they are all under one entity. Well, it has even more than one registered address. For example, Al-Marai has 4 in Riyadh. It is a city in Saudi Arabia, and it also has another branch in Jeddah, which is another city in Saudi Arabia. It has more than 5 commercial registration numbers, where one of them is the main and others are branches. However, they are all under one entity. It is engaged in several activities. I'm going to state 4 of them. It is engaged in liquid milk and cream production, manufacture of beverages, raising of dairy cattle, wholesale of meat and meat products. So we at Cedar Rose, we receive a lot of queries on branches, thinking that they are a separate entity, but in fact, they are only part of a main entity. Also, another example, Saudi Telecom Company. It has 13 commercial registration numbers in different cities. I can state some of them, which are Riyadh, Dammam, Jeddah, Tabuk, and others. Okay, when you seek a credit report, here I would like your contribution. When you seek your credit report for a credit report on a specific company in the Middle East, how would you assess the quality of the information provided in the report? So which one of the following is the least important to you? Data source, date of the data, the language used in the report, or the credit opinion? So I'm gonna give you 2-3 minutes to just have a quick think about it and answer me through the chat box, please. So the question is, what is the least important to you in a credit report? Is it the data source from where we have or we got the data? Is it the date of the data? When was the data acquired? Is it the language used? The report is in English or in Arabic or French? Or is it the credit opinion given at the end of the report? Well, some are saying it's the language used. Others are saying that it's the credit opinion. I'm gonna wait for more answers to come. About the data source or the date of data. So mainly the language used. Anyone else has different answer? Language used. Someone said the credit opinion. So it's based, so the least important ones are the language and the credit. Well, I'm going to talk about the data source. For example, if the source of the data is from local authorities, such as ministries, chambers, governmental departments, or from social media, such as Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or others, does it have the same value in your opinion? Well, it definitely has a different value because the source, when it comes from local authorities, it is a more reliable source. It's different than the ones or the info coming from the social media. So yes, the data source is one of the most important factors. The date of the data. Well, if I come and give you a report with the company information dated 2012, how will you able to assess its current situation and behavior? Well, the data should be fresh and not older than 1 year, because if it's older, you cannot really assess the current situation of the company. Well, since most of you said that the language used is the least important, well, we all know that in the Middle East, for example, many languages are being used. We have Arabic, French, Persian, and others. So if we collect the information, the local language, and generate a report also using the local language, let's say Arabic language, but you do not understand the language, would this report be valuable to you? Well, I guess that most of you will go and hire someone to do the translation work so that this report becomes comprehensible to you. So the data should be translated and transliterated to the common used language, English. This is also one of the challenges that we have faced in Cedar Rose, because most of the information that we have in our database comes initially in the Arabic language or Persian language or even in French language, and we do the translation. Others said that the credit opinion is the least important. Well, someone just said that they use they use Google to translate. Yeah, I tried Google and tested it, and I can really share my experience with Google because it sometimes skips words and it sometimes gives you a illogical meaning of the sentence, especially when you translate companies' names. You have to try Google Translate, trust me, and then you will come back to me and ask me about our translation, because Google mainly translates text, paragraphs, sentences, not registration information or business information, because business information are not like a noun and a verb. It's like a registered name of the company, especially the name. Credit opinion. Most of us think that the credit opinion is the most important factor in the report, but if all the above are not taken into consideration, then the credit opinion will have no value. Well, someone just said that they will form their own opinion. This is why the credit opinion is the least important to them. Well, the credit opinion provided should be based on the data available in the report, and I'm going to add this point, it should be automated without manual intervention, because when it is automated, it will be more reliable. It will take all the factors and it will give them weights and ratings according to the algorithm used for this automation. Well, someone just said that all are important contributing factors, but as long as the source is sound, data is fresh, translation is accurate, we'll be able to form an opinion independently. Well, I do agree that all are important, but as I previously said, that the credit opinion, if you form it independently, just make sure that it is automatically calculated without the manual intervention, because to be more objective and more accurate and takes all the factors into consideration. Well, Cedar Rose also offers electronic identity verification (eIDV), providing access via API for instant and real-time and precise identity verification data on individuals and companies. We are proudly the first identity verification service for the Middle East and Russia. Some electronic identity verification might be something, a new service for you. It's an instant and accurate identity verification data on individuals and companies in developing countries and parts of the globe where information has traditionally and previously been difficult to access. This service provides also access via API to this information. I'm done for today, and if you have, please, any question, feel free to ask, and I'm gonna answer you.
I think there was one question we didn't answer, and that was, will these slides be available?
Yeah.
Yes, they will be available. A recording will be available on our website in the next few days. So give us a couple of days to just make sure it's ready, and then it'll be on our website. So.
Yes, perfect, Lori. Thank you.
Any more questions?
Thank you, Peter. Peter just said that it's a good presentation. Thank you very much. If you have any question, especially about the information in the Middle East, please, I will be happy to answer you.
Okay.
Victor, Victor is saying, if I understood correctly, entities don't need to submit financial information. How then does Cedar Rose gather financial data? Well, it's not that they don't need, they are not required to file financial statements. And as I previously said during my presentation, Cedar Rose gather financial data using different methods. One of them is since we do fresh investigations, so we already have financial data in our database, and we also update them doing an updated fresh investigation or trade reference or other methods as well. Well, Joshua said that, thank you for the brilliant presentation. What would be your next steps in pulling information from a free zone entity in the UAE, of course? Well, the free zones and the free zone authorities, especially in the UAE, are our main challenge in this country. So yeah, we already have a part of this information covered in our database, and we are willing to cover 100% of all the free zones. So looking for the best. Philip, how can the data be trusted if there is no requirement to file or audit? Well, when the financials are audited, we mention in our report that the financials are audited, and when they are not, we do say that it's an alleged information. So it's based on what we receive from the subject itself. We have to trust what the subject gives us, because if we do not, we will not be able to really compile a credit report. Plus, we do ask for copies for financial statements. Fatima, thank you for the presentation. Well, welcome, Fatima. Hopefully to see you on future presentations as well. Claire, how can we complete money laundering verification and KYC on companies in the free zones, as they do not need to provide details on the directors, etc.? Well, yes, you are right, Claire, that it is one of the main challenges in the free zone itself is that they do not provide details on the directors. And when we do a fresh investigation, we do try our best to cover this exact data field in our reports. It is challenging, but eventually we will have to add it in we have to provide it in our reports. So we try to get this information from the local authority itself. Other questions?
Okay, well, that's I think time for me to wrap up. First off, thank you very much, Angelique, for a very, very good presentation and for joining us from Cyprus. So, and thank you to everybody that joined our first webinar. We are going to be doing 2 webinars per month going forward, and our next one is on the 25th of October. Innovation in UK Credit Reporting with Joanne Day from CoCredo. If you want to learn more about Forums International, please go to our website. And our next forum is on the 12th of November, and it's Business and Office Supplies at Experian in Nottingham. So I hope you all enjoyed it, and hopefully, as Angelique said, that we'll see you again in the future. So thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Laurie. Thank you.